Hello everyone, and good afternoon from what is the only airport in the country of Luxembourg, Luxembourg Findel Airport, located in the town of Findel in the city of Luxembourg, hence the name Luxembourg Findel Airport. And yes, the capital city of Luxembourg is Luxembourg. Something that is worth keeping in mind is that if you ever visit Luxembourg, public transport is completely free. Buses, trains and trams are all free. This applies for both tourists and residents of Luxembourg and has been the case since March 2020. Anyway, back to the trip report itself. Tonight we will be flying with Britain's flag carrier, British Airways, back over to London Heathrow Airport in England, which is BA's main hub, and tonight we will once again be flying on board one of BA's A319-100s. Upon entering the terminal, there is a convenience store and a cafe. Just past those is the check-in desks, which we didn't need to pay a visit to as we had mobile boarding passes and hand luggage only. I must say that I personally quite like the design of Findel Airport's check-in area, as it's quite spacious with high ceilings and plenty of natural light through the windows. The security checkpoint is to the left of the check-in desks, and today security took roughly 20 minutes to clear. Once past security, you don't immediately walk through duty-free. Duty-free and the departure lounge is a short walk away and an escalator ride from security. The duty-free store has a great selection of alcoholic drinks, fragrances, snacks and gifts, but I didn't spend any money in here and went to explore the departure lounge. The departure lounge doesn't really have a lot in terms of eateries, just a restaurant and a bar and cafe, as well as another convenience store called Press and Books. I honestly wouldn't recommend coming to the airport so long before your flight, maybe 2 or 3 hours depending on when check-in opens if you have check-in luggage, as there honestly isn't a lot here in the departure lounge and it can be quite boring. Although us plane spotters will enjoy the views you get from the windows, it's just a shame those Cargolux 747s don't come up close to the windows, but it's good to see them taxiing past. But sadly, there weren't any taxiing to or from the runway in the time we were in the departure lounge. The gate we would be boarding our flight over to Heathrow tonight would be Gate 3, which is through the border control checkpoint, as Gate 3 is for non-Schengen flights. Unfortunately, the border control checkpoint won't open until it's closer to the time for boarding to start, so we had to wait for it to open, and that would be longer than expected, as our aircraft was running late due to a storm which was happening in the UK at the time, which was called Storm BABET. This particular gate area has only a small cafe, toilets, vending machines, and the seating area. There wasn't a lot we could see outside as it was night time, but I could still just barely see and record our aircraft pulling up onto stand after arriving on its inbound flight from Heathrow Airport. The aircraft we would be flying on over to London Heathrow is this Airbus A319-100 registered as Golf-Delta Bravo Charlie Foxtrot, which at the time was 18 years old and had performed its first flight on May 12, 2005 and was originally delivered to BMI British Midland 14 days later on May 26, 2005, before then being delivered to British Airways on July 7, 2012. Eventually, we were called over to Gate 3 to begin our boarding process. The front of the cabin consists of a small Club Europe, aka business class cabin, laid out in a 3-3 configuration with the middle seats blocked off. Then there is Euro Traveller, aka economy class, also laid out in a 3-3 configuration. My seat tonight would be seat 22 Alpha, and as you can see from my window, it was raining in Luxembourg, but not as bad as in the UK. Speaking of bad weather in the UK, the pilot ended up coming over the PA system to let us know that we would be delayed due to Storm BABET being quite rough in the London area at the time. Luckily, the ground delay would only last for roughly 40 minutes, which is how long the pilot said we would be delayed for, so we ended up pushing back roughly 40 minutes behind schedule, and while taxiing to runway 04, we ended up taxiing past some Cargolux 747s, which is a nice way for an avgeek to end a trip to Luxembourg. After we took off from Luxembourg Findel Airport, the clouds were far too low for me to get any decent views, so let's just skip to the seat tour. Legroom on these BA A319s is good enough for a short flight across Europe. For reference, I am roughly 6 foot tall. The seat back pocket contains a safety card, sick bag, and BA's High Life menu. The tray table is a good size and is extendable for smaller passengers, and also has an indent for a drink. Above the tray table is a coat hook. Soon after departure, the crew came around with a complimentary service consisting of a small packet of sour cream and chive pretzels and a bottle of water. Here is a look at the safety card. The High Life Cafe menu has a limited selection of food and drinks on offer, but at least it's there, although if you're travelling to somewhere like Greece, Turkey or the Canary Islands on board these A319s, then it's probably worth bringing some snacks and drinks with you. We soon begin descending towards Heathrow Airport, and this happens to be my first time flying through a storm, and it was quite bumpy. But luckily the weather wasn't quite as bad as it was during the ground delay in Luxembourg, so enjoy the landing onto runway 27 left at London Heathrow Airport. We landed into Heathrow roughly half an hour late at 9:55 p.m, but at least the storm didn't cause a diversion or even a complete cancellation of the flight. Once again, another great flight with British Airways. Crew were very friendly and on their feet for the entire flight. The complimentary service is a nice touch, even if it's not much. The seats were comfortable, and the communication between the pilots and passengers was definitely good on this flight, thanks to the pilots for making us aware of the delay we would experience due to the storm. We also got some nice views of all the wide-body aircraft parked up at Heathrow's Terminal 3. Now, normally I'd ask if I can have a flight deck visit, but at this point it was roughly 10 p.m. and we just wanted to get to our hotel for the night, so I didn't bother asking. Thanks so much, British Airways, for another great flight, and thank you for watching this trip report. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next trip report. Bye.